Superintendent in studio right now, Dr. Chris Daugherty. Great to have you here, Dr. Daugherty.
Well, good morning, Avery. It's wonderful to be here today.
Great to have you along. So let's see. First off, before we get into any of the school board stuff or anything like that, I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about the CEO students that were in here in the studio this morning. What do you think of them?
Our CEO students are just amazing. Mr. Hohenstein leads that program, and he's just a facilitator of kids to success. So I really appreciate the skills the kids are picking up. I appreciate their innovation, their ideas, their ability to step forward and to create solutions to problems that we have here in this world. I know most of those kids.
I was going to ask, what do you think of those kids?
I just know most of them, and I see them, kind of top of the heap, and they're really stepping forward and taking risks, and their futures are extremely bright. Very, very proud of them. I know Sophie was in, and so Sophie's picked up golf during the pandemic, and she recently won our region, and she's become a great golfer.
Yep, she is now all Apollo Conference golfer.
Just amazing, just a little bit of interest and a little bit of that step forwardness, and that's what I see that group demonstrates. Mr. Hohenstein, Neil, he just leads them forward. There's really no limits.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. I loved having them in here, and appreciate you giving your thoughts on that as well. So, also, you did have the school board meeting last night. You had the student council students in attendance. Anything that came out of that? I guess that's actually, let's start with that. That sounds like a pretty cool opportunity for the student council just to see what's going on.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we always like to take the opportunity to remind everybody that we're here for student achievement, and we're here educating kids and leading students. So tonight we had the opportunity to do that. So our student council kids were required to come and take a look at how government's run and how meetings are held. And last night we had a budget levy, and then we had a budget hearing, and then we adopted our budget. So I had the opportunity in between the two to sit down with the student council kids and just explain the process and the importance. I wanted them to have the backstory and kind of the steps that are into place into getting a budget in place, and also to let them know that it's just a prediction on what we expect to happen this year, and then factors come in that adjust that. So I said we'll probably be back at the table in May readjusting things.
This budget is public, as far as I know. So, is it all right if I on the camera show what you gave me here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You sure can.
So what we have here, we have on the far left, we have the fiscal year starting, if I can get a good angle on it, what it will start off with for the balance. And Dr. Daugherty, go ahead. And then you have in the middle, you have the funds that are exiting out of the budget. And then you have what the expected amount is on the far right by the end of the fiscal year. Yeah. Dr. Daugherty, go ahead and give me your analysis of this.
So our budget is about a quarter of an inch, half of an inch thick. This is just a summary of the different funds. And in education, we do what's called fund accounting, and that can confuse people. There's certain dollars in certain pots for certain purposes, and that's what we plan out of. So most of the things that we do, we're in the business, as we said, of educating kids. So most of our work comes out of the education fund. And so our education fund, the starting balance is $19 million. We expect to increase it by 1.7 this year. And we expect the ending year to be $20 million in that fund. And then you'll just go down. A lot of activity is going to go on out of two funds that we have outside of the teaching and learning component. And those are our buildings. And as you know, we've been in a rather aggressive endeavor to get our buildings shored up and then do a building project. So you'll see the O&M fund and you'll see the capital outlay fund. Those are showing dollars being spent instead of increased. And as I said, you never know how the year goes. We've been extremely aggressive on grant writing. And last year, I think we brought in over $10.5 million additional dollars in grants, and just quite a bit of activity has been undertaken. We expect to end the year with all of our funds combined at $35 million.
And that is from the start of $39.6 million of the starting fiscal year. Overall, if you could summarize the financial health of the district, how would you assess that, Dr. Daugherty?
We're healthy, and the state actually has a rating. We're very close to perfect in the rating. So secure finances, a good fiscal plan for the next foreseeable future. We ran financials out 7-10 years. This coming year, we've got big things underway with our build and also with negotiations on our collective bargaining agreements with our 2 labor unions.
Yeah, just to clarify that fund that you mentioned, how you've been very aggressive about a building project. That is the athletic complex and fine arts complex, right?
It is, but we've also shored up all of our buildings in the district. So we've added, heating and cooling systems and ventilation systems in reaction to the pandemic and clean air. We've done roofing, we've done tuck pointing, we've done pavement, fencing, all kinds of school safety things. We're about finished with our summer work. We've replumbed the entire North School. That building was built in the 60s, and the plumbing was in the concrete, and it was up in the walls. And we had some issues that were coming at us. So there's new fixtures and new plumbing throughout that entire building. But our building should be in really good, solid shape for at least the coming decade. So that's important for the community. Those are assets that the community holds, and they're very valuable. And it's important that we take care of them.
In the same note of staying aggressive for that big project that you are pursuing, though, I know you've received some help recently from not only the private citizens but foundations as well.
So exciting. So yeah, it's one of the big things that's on our horizon. We're in the design development phase for the fine arts and sports arena project, which is not yet named. I know if I could just have a name for it, I could call it whatever we decide on, the Tornado Center or whatever we decide on. And I know there are groups that are interested in naming rights for it. So we are in limbo during fundraising. But recently we received some donations from Taylorville Memorial Foundation, and that's a $100,000 grant that was put forth. We expect to see that happen one more time this year and in subsequent years. And then we received a donation from the Taylorville Foundation for $25,000. And somebody had left some money in their will and earmarked it for future build. So they've held on to those dollars for quite a few years, and they've added to them. And just Friday, they brought the check over. It's exciting to see it happening.
I also, outside of the actual building project, you guys do receive a lot of support from other community businesses, and one of them I know is Scooter's Coffee.
Scooter's Coffee. They contacted us. It's important if you want to undertake fundraising and assist in the community, it's important to prearrange that. And so Laura McLaughlin, who's running Scooter's Coffee, contacted us, and she said, we are really excited to be here in Taylorville, and we want to partner with the schools. What can we do? So it was decided between us that we would earmark their fundraising efforts toward our book vending machines. So we've recently put an order through. So there's books coming to refill those vending machines. And our kids were, trying to promote learning and reading, and also appropriate behavior. So the kids earn tokens at school, and they can put their tokens in the machine and select book titles. And you can bet we have selected the best books. So kids just, they almost drool when they walk by looking. You know how it is when you're hungry and you see a candy machine? It's the same thing when you're hungry for knowledge and you walk by and see that book title. So yes, Scooter's Coffee, they recently came up with $400 from their day of giving to support our books.
Fantastic. And again, that vending machine, it's literally just a book vending machine. It's
It
what
is.
you would think of, but with books.
Exactly. You don't see M&Ms in there, but you
Right.
do see the best books.
And they don't have to spend their own money. They are rewarded through their own behavior.
Yeah, it's not a money thing. It's a coin. It's a coin.
It's a little token.
It's a token. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's awesome. Anything else that you'd like to say about the support of the community towards Taylorville School District?
Well, our art program's making some waves.
Okay, yeah, tell me
And
about
we've received some grants and some scholarships. Our art teacher at the high school is Mrs. Julia Crow. So she's got Jillian Lowry, who won $1,000 from the Illinois Heartland decorative decorative artist from U of I. And the program, the art department won $250 to tie with that. And then Grace Haberling won $500 for her artwork. It's being displayed in Shelbyville. And then also the Jim Hill Rembrandt Society Scholarship for $1,000. So the art program's starting to show.
Yeah. Well, That sounds fantastic. I want to talk more about all the things going on with Taylorville School District. But first, let me reintroduce you. That's Superintendent Dr. Chris Daugherty here. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. You'll find those streams online on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com Facebook or on YouTube at WTIM TV.
WTIM. Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and wheat all double-digit lower. December corn 6.80 1/4 down 11 3/4. March corn down 11 1/4, 6.85 1/2. May corn 6.85 3/4 down 11 1/4. November beans 14.63 3/4 down 15. January beans down 15 1/4. 14.69 1/4. March beans 14.72 down 13 1/2. December wheat 8.77 3/4 down 16. March wheat down 15 1/4. 8.92. October bean meal 444.60 down 6.20. October bean oil up a dime 68.69. In the livestock market, September feeders 179.37 up 57 cents. October live cattle 146.07 down 22 cents. October lean hogs 95.27 down 70 cents. In the energy market, November crude oil 84.05 up 11 cents. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Are your funds gaining minimal interest in a CD? Are you looking for a more effective plan? Put your assets into action with single premium whole life insurance with Pekin Life Insurance Company. This tax-deferred investment currently exceeds the cash value growth of most CDs. It also gives you a life insurance amount significantly above the invested amount, which immediately increases the funds available to your heirs. Call me at Prairie State Insurance, 217-824-9808, or check us out at prairiestateinS.com, and we'll go beyond the expected for you.
It's that time of year.
Yes, it is.
Time for your big announcement, Troy.
About Jansen's no sales tax event?
Well, yeah, that too. But this is also a good time to announce your candidacy for Tri-County Comfort Commissioner.
I'm not doing that. But to celebrate our 35th anniversary, through the end of the month, Jansen's will pay your sales tax on a complete new comfort system.
Now that's a campaign promise.
There's no campaign. Purchase a new furnace and AC before the end of the month, and Jansen's Heating and Air will pay your sales tax.
It's that kind of thinking that will make you a great Tri-County Comfort Commissioner.
There's no such thing as Tri-County Comfort Commissioner. That position doesn't exist.
Fine.
Okay?
So, vote Troy Jansen to be your next Secretary of Savings.
Wrap it up.
Purchase a new comfort system in September, and Jansen's will pay your sales tax. 562-5201.
JansensHeating.com.
Troy Jansen approves this message.
Will you stop?
At Central Illinois Outdoors with me, Jared White, we want you to be a part of the program as well via the Archer's Alley Catch of the Week. Each week, we'll select one of your pictures submitted at centralillinoisoutdoors.com and invite you to tell your story of the great outdoors. We're looking for your kid's first catch or even your first big buck. There's a simple, easy form you can fill out on your phone or computer at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. Send us your story, send us your pic. centralillinoisoutdoors.com and the Catch of the Week, brought to you by Archer's Alley, North 22nd Street in Decatur.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I'm here in studio with Dr. Chris Daugherty, Superintendent of Taylorville School District. And, you know, last night you were at your school board meeting, and there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that it's a little bit nuanced. So let's go into something a little bit lighter. I know there were some students that received Tornado Appreciation Awards. And so tell me a little bit about what the program for the Tornado Appreciation Award winners are and who they are.
Well, that's exciting. So what we do is we try to notice when our students are doing great things and our staff's involved, and they alert us. So our Tornado Appreciation winners for recent weeks, what the kids do is they earn a gift card and they get an activity pass, which is pretty exciting. Yeah. Students are nominated by Mr. Nolte for helpfulness to students and staff. And they are Abigail Blake, Jade Butterfield, and Matthew Gettings. And then Isabel Gideon was nominated by Mrs. Wolf for helpfulness and assistance in the classroom. Adrian Gonzalez Mateus was nominated by Mrs. Revico for assisting other students. Hannah Ostiff was nominated by Mrs. Williams for helpfulness, friendliness, and positivity in the classroom.
That's fantastic. Any other big highlights for students at Taylorville High School that you'd like to highlight here, Dr. Daugherty?
Well, recently our agriculture program presented their field trip to Scotland, and the team went over. I was really excited to see they made a video, and it looked like they could have been on Saturday Night Live. It was so amazing, their rendition of their time overseas. But they went over to judge, and they won trophies and awards, which is pretty typical recently of our program. Everybody fights for top honor, but our program is just so stellar, and those kids are amazing. You should have seen Drew Mickey commentating the video. If Saturday Night Live doesn't hire him, I'm not sure, but he's definitely got a mark in telling a good story. He's just brilliant. And he had an Irish cap on as he narrated over in Scotland. It's just amazing. Just an amazing field trip and experience. The kids got to see Trinity, which is, a popular university in Ireland. And they also got to see St. Andrews, which is in Scotland. It's an exquisite university. And I had to laugh because I've got two nephews out at St. Andrews. One just graduated, one's currently there. And I've got a childhood friend of my daughter's at Trinity in Dublin. And we're going to go visit her in June. So the thought that my students here from Taylorville were on those two campuses really connected with me on expanding their worldview. We may be a small town, but our kids are going places.
Speaking of going places, I know they also, or rather you looked over a FFA trip to the National Convention in Indianapolis. I know this is something they do every year, but what can you tell me about it?
That's exciting. So it's exciting for the leaders in our FFA and Ag Club to be at that convention. And then in addition to our leaders going, we also take a busload of kids. So they get that national experience. And what I love is the connection they have to great, hardworking kids outside of the community. Who knows where that goes in their future? Right. But that connection, that network is just powerful.
What are some of the other things here on this agenda that you really wanted to address, if there is anything here?
Well, we talked a lot about the buildings and about student achievement and how things connect. But at the junior high, we've got pavement, outdoor pavement. It kind of faces Kroger. And it's been just tore up. It's been tore up from age and weather, and there's ruts and things in it. And then we also are creating a path there for school safety for kids to walk through. So we have a new school maintenance grant, and it's a matching grant. The State Board of Education gives $50,000, and then we use $50,000 of our funds. So it doubles our effort. We're going to take care of those matters. And then we also are taking care of visitor bleachers over at the high school. And that's something that we've been trying to get figured out for a while. It's important, but so many other things were important too that had to get into proper perspective. So now it looks like we got grant funding. We're going to put the proposal out, and we hope that the state board agrees with us that these are priorities that need attention.
Yeah, I see the visiting bleachers at capacity all the time.
Yeah.
And so that's fantastic that you guys are taking a look at that.
Yeah. And it brings us to ADA compliance. And we want to be accessible, and we want to be inviting.
Dr. Daugherty, anything else that you'd like to say about the status of the Taylorville School District?
Well, we're in good shape. We're off to a very smooth start, and just make sure kids are reading and make sure they're attending school. Pay attention to what's going on. Our new app's amazing. If you don't have it, get a hold of one of the schools and they'll show you, or go into your app store and just download Taylorville Community School District. Everything's loaded into the app. It's user friendly.
That's Dr. Chris Daugherty, Superintendent of Taylorville School District. Thank you so much, Dr. Daugherty.
Thank you.
Your stream brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark.
WTIM. The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5